Have you ever wondered what really happens every time you touch money? Not in the physical sense, but deep within the soul where words have yet to form. Yet energy is already communicating with the universe. In the first 10 seconds, when you pull out a bill from your wallet or swipe your card at the register, you're not just making a transaction, you are sending out a signal to the immutable spiritual law, a silent command born from your beliefs about money, worth and deservingness. To many, money is merely a tool. But in spiritual truth, as Florence Scovel Shinn once declared, it is the faithful servant of belief, the most accurate reflection of the vibration you are holding. Every time you say, "I can't afford it," or "I hope this is enough," you're not simply expressing concern. You're signing an energetic contract with the law of lack. And that law, dear one, never makes a mistake. Now I invite you to pause. Not to check your wallet, but to check your mindset. When you pay a bill, receive a paycheck, or find a coin on the street, do you realize you're performing a sacred ritual? A silent communion between you and the flow of life itself. Florence once wrote, "Words are wands, they shape reality." So imagine this, what would happen if you began touching money with gratitude instead of fear? What would transform if each time you spent you said, "I'm not losing, I'm planting"? The universe, rest assured, would not remain still. You don't have to be a millionaire to practice spiritual wealth. All it takes is a moment of stillness, a precise declaration, a clear vibration. Because money doesn't obey words, money obeys energy. And the strongest energy is always transmitted through the spoken word. Today, you're about to receive a formula, a new ritual for your money journey, not a financial hack, not a budgeting system, but a spoken spell in the spirit of Florence, one that activates the law of increase through the power of the word. This is not magic. This is the practice of spiritual law. You speak, you believe, you receive. And to begin that journey, ask yourself, what words do you typically say when you spend money? What emotions are you sowing into every dollar you send out? That is what we're about to explore together in the next chapter. We've been taught that money is just paper, a tool, a neutral means to an end. But in the stillness of the spirit, where words become law and belief, is the energy that moves all things. We come to realize money is the hinge of consciousness. Every time you touch it, you're activating a signal. Not to a bank, but to the divine law. Florence once said, "Money is a faithful servant, and you are the master." The problem is, most of us don't know what kind of orders we're giving. We reach for our wallets with trembling hands. We look at our balances with dread. We pay bills with a sigh, and still wonder why money keeps slipping away. But tell me, would you touch a dear friend with suspicion, blame, and still hope they stay? Certainly not. Human psychology has a repeating pattern. We long for prosperity while sowing the vibration of lack. We pray for more money, yet speak words like, "I can't afford it. That's too expensive. I'm broke." Words are magic, but when cast at the wrong frequency, magic becomes a curse. Let me tell you about Linda, a single mother from Michigan. She went through months of drained accounts, even picking up spare change to buy gas. But what changed Linda's life didn't come from a loan or a new job. It came from a sentence. One day, while listening to the audiobook Your Word is Your Wand, she heard, "I bless every dollar. My word increases everything I touch." That night, Linda did nothing but hold her wallet, close her eyes, and whisper those words. Each day, she touched money with gratitude, not for the amount she had, but for the energy she was sending out. 3 weeks later, she was called for an interview at a job she had been rejected from 4 months earlier. 6 months later, her income doubled. But the most important change, Linda no longer feared money. She no longer saw it as a battlefield, but as a sacred companion. You see, the issue isn't how much money you have, it's what you're saying to it. Within your words lie your beliefs. And within those beliefs, your reality is born. So today, I invite you to begin a new money-touching ritual. When you hold a bill, don't just ask, is this enough? Instead say, this is sacred substance. I touch money with reverence, and it multiplies in grace. Don't treat this as a mechanical affirmation. Treat it as a new soul declaration. Each time you spend, imagine you are planting a seed. Each time you receive, picture it as fruit born from past beliefs. And if you want better fruit, speak better seeds. You are not alone in this journey. There are thousands, even millions, learning to break the financial spell, learning to speak again to money with loving vibration. I invite you to connect, share below. What phrase will you speak when you touch money? Have you ever had an experience blessing your money? Your comment is more than a story. It's a spark, an inspiration, a mirror for someone else. Because sometimes it only takes one brave soul to speak anew for an entire community to be healed. And if you're wondering, so what do I say when I pay a bill or repay a debt? How do I handle the fear that rises when money feels like it's running out? Don't leave just yet. The next part will share Florence's exact 3-step money blessing ritual, so that every dollar you touch knows its way back to you, multiplied, enriched, and carrying not just material gain, but deep, abiding peace. If money responds to energy, then what is the most powerful channel through which that energy flows? None other than the words you speak. Florence Scovel Shinn called it the spoken word, a spiritual spell. She emphasized man's word is his wand, and that wand casts the reality you live in whether you believe it or not. We live in a world where people are taught to stay silent about money. Don't speak your desires. Don't express gratitude. Don't repeat good fortune aloud, lest it sound like bragging. But in the realm of energy, silence is not neutral. It is surrender. Every time you don't bless your money, you let the world speak for you. And trust me, the world will choose to say lack instead of plenty. In your word is your wand. Florence wrote, through your words you can turn sorrow into joy, sickness, into health, lack into abundance. Every word you speak goes out into the atmosphere like a seed, and the atmosphere never lets a seed lie dormant. Now imagine this. If every word you said about money bloomed into a tree, what would the financial garden around you look like? A lush forest of prosperity or a dry wasteland filled with, I don't have enough. I'm so broke. Money just disappears. You don't have to answer me. Just listen to the words you've been using each day. I once worked with someone named Chris, a barista in California. He used to joke, I'm the king of broke. If you need a money curse, come to me. One day, after accidentally catching a podcast that quoted Florence, Chris decided to try something different. Every time he paid his phone bill, he'd say, I bless this stream of energy. I pay with freedom and I receive in joy. Nothing magical happened overnight. But after 3 months, Chris said something had shifted. He no longer felt anxiety when swiping his card. No more shame when checking his balance. And then came the opportunity. He was offered a full-time role with benefits and monthly bonuses. Not from luck, but from changing the route, his words. So what words will you choose today? Write them down in the comments below. Share what phrases have you used in the past that limited your financial flow. And what spoken word will you plant now to renew your energetic garden? Don't hold back. This is a space for healing. Every comment you post is not just a message, it's a declaration, I'm ready to speak again. This community doesn't exist to soothe or hand out miracles, we exist to do. Together, what Florence did a century ago, reclaim the power of the word, and from there rebuild our reality. And have you noticed how every time you say, I need to save, in fear, money seems to vanish faster. But when you say, I give joyfully and receive by divine law, unexpected things start to happen. Maybe a cashback from your bank, a new order, a referral, or simply a sense of peace each time you spend. That's not magic, it's law. In the next section, I'll share with you the formula 3 steps to activate the spoken word every time you spend money. A simple ritual. Florence once called the moment of commanding the law. But before we get there, I invite you stand up, pull out any bill, place your hand on it and whisper, I am not spending, I am transmitting energy. I am not losing, I am activating the law of return. Notice what shifts inside you. That is the first unlocking. Have you ever noticed people who are at peace with money aren't always rich, but they speak about money very differently? They don't use words like burden, pressure, have to spend, or money never comes back. Instead, they say, I'm circulating abundance, I'm investing in fullness, I give in trust, and receive in grace, changing your language. This was the very first tool Florence Scovel Shinn gave to those who desired true prosperity. In The Power of the Spoken Word, she wrote, a statement repeated daily sinks deep into the subconscious, and the subconscious holds the keys to the treasure house. So if you want to reactivate your financial luck, start by speaking anew. Each morning, choose a new phrase about money. Write it down, tape it to your mirror, repeat it while you make your coffee. As simple as, money is positive energy, always returning to me, or every time I spend, I'm planting seeds for a future harvest. This is not delusion, it's recalibrating the sound within you so the universe can finally hear what you truly desire. And now, tool number 2. Keep an emotional journal of your spending. After every purchase, whether it's a cup of coffee, a phone bill, or a big tuition payment, ask yourself, how did I feel just after I spent the money? What was I thinking right before I paid? Did I speak a blessing over this transaction? What words did I use? Did they carry fear or faith? The purpose of writing this down is not to judge, but to see yourself clearly. As Florence said, self-awareness is the first step to transformation. No one can plant new seeds in a garden they've never walked into. I know it may feel strange at first. Who writes about how they felt after swiping a card? But this small act is how you shift from unconscious habit to conscious vibration. And once you become aware, you can begin to choose new energy. I encourage you starting today to try the 7-day language shift plus emotion journal experiment. 1 spoken blessing each day, 1 sentence of feeling for every expense. Try it and then come back to this video. Share in the comments what has shifted in you. What new feelings have surfaced? This community exists not just to listen, but to respond. Not just to be inspired, but to be transformed. When you write it down, you're not just helping yourself, you're lighting the way for hundreds of others who are waiting to relearn the language of enough. And if you're wondering, how do I keep this habit alive? How do I turn these words into real belief, not just empty mantras? The next section is what you've been waiting for. The sacred 3-step ritual Florence, used to turn your vibration into tangible financial outcomes. A journey from words to feelings to reality. But before we step into that next chapter, I have a suggestion. Choose a financial transaction you're about to make in the next few days. Maybe lunch shopping, or a big expense you've been worried about. Before you pay, write down 1 blessing. After you pay, jot down your feelings. And then, come back here, tell me what happened. There's something they never taught you in school and rarely talked about at home, your unconscious beliefs about money. These are the phrases you heard growing up, the expressions you saw on your parents' faces when they talked about finances. The silent lessons planted in your mind every time a bill arrived, or someone said, money can't buy happiness. Florence Scovel Shinn called these false seeds planted not by truth, but by fear. And she warned, as long as you haven't uprooted the seeds of fear, every blessing you sow will be choked before it grows. So, how do we begin? Here's a step-by-step guide to uproot false beliefs about money and create a new energetic foundation. Step 1. Identify your core beliefs. Take a notebook and write down 3 phrases you often heard or believed about money. For example, you have to work really hard to earn money. Easy money goes away just as easily. I'm not good enough to make a lot of money. Now face each phrase, place your hand over your heart and ask, is this an absolute truth or just something passed down to me? Step 2. Rewrite your beliefs. For every limiting belief, write a new empowering version, one your heart can agree with. For instance, I am supported in earning money with joy and creativity. Money flows to me easily and stays because I honor it. I am capable, I am worthy, I am chosen to prosper. This is when you begin to change the frequency of your subconscious. As Florence said, a new belief must be repeated like a melody until it becomes the background music of your life. Step 3. The open palm ritual. Find a quiet evening. Place your wallet or a bill in the palm of your hand. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say aloud, I release all old beliefs that made money feel scary. I allow myself to be wealthy with ease and delight. Money is not my enemy, it is a loving tool of the universe. Feel the warmth of energy flowing from your heart to your hands. This is not pretend. This is you rewriting your inner code. Step 4. Repeat and share. Each morning, read your new beliefs 3 times. Each evening, express gratitude for one money-related moment from your day, even if it's just finding a coin on the sidewalk. And whenever you can share your journey, it could be a comment below this video, a post on your page, but speak out. Because every time you share, you're not just healing yourself, you're sending out a vibration that can awaken thousands of others searching for a new path. So, are you ready? If you truly want to transform the way money shows up in your life, begin with just one of these 4 steps. And I invite you come back to this video in 7 days. Write in the comments, what false belief did you uncover? What new words are you planting? How has your emotional response to spending shifted? This community is a meeting place for those in transformation. Leave A if you're walking this journey too. Follow this channel to keep receiving more insights from Florence. And in the next section, I'll share with you what Florence called the activation phrase for the law of miracles, a sacred mantra you can speak whenever you receive, spend, or give money, turning every transaction into a ritual of growth. Dear one, if you've journeyed with me this far, perhaps your heart is beginning to remember what the world once made you forget, that you were not born to live in lack. You were born to operate abundance as a natural expression of your soul. Florence Scovel Shinn didn't just write about money. She wrote about remembering that each of us can choose again. Choose the words we speak. Choose how we touch money. Choose the beliefs we carry. And from there, choose the reality we live in. You don't need anyone's permission to be wealthy. You were created with that power. No one has to suffer sacrifice or prove themselves to be worthy of abundance. Because in the law of the soul, belief plus word plus vibration is the sacred formula, and it never fails. So I invite you not to believe me, but to try. Try living the next 7 days as a sacred practice, a small journey where you will speak a blessing over every dollar that flows out, whether it's pocket change or a large bill. Write down one thing you're financially grateful for each night, even if it's a penny found on the street. Observe your unconscious language around money and replace it with a phrase that awakens your truth. And if you begin to sense a shift, whether it's a new piece, a small opportunity, or an unexpected breakthrough, come back and share it. So those who still doubt can see miracles are real, and they begin with the voice inside us. I invite you to leave this affirmation in the comments. I bless every dollar. My word multiplies all I touch. Not for fun, but because every word you write is one step away from old beliefs and one step closer to activating the new law. If this video touched any part of your being, I would be honored if you subscribed, because there are many more teachings from Florence waiting to be uncovered. And if you feel called to spread this light, share this video with someone who might need it right now. Remember, you are not just watching a video. You are stepping into an inner journey where you return to your place as a creator, a summoner, a soul who remembers who they truly are. And I'll see you in the next video where we'll unlock a deeper layer together, the art of reading money emotion, and how to decode the vibration behind every financial decision. See you there. With all my love and the knowing that money doesn't make you someone new, it simply amplifies who you already are.